Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we are going to talk about OpenDoor stock. Stock symbol is open. It closed Friday at $2.27. He said, "This is what I think." And then he started posting videos. But now you have a situation where people are noticing that it's starting to get interesting with this stock. First of all, the stock is moving. And then, if you look on the investing app, there's a lot of trading volume, showing $284 million worth of shares traded. It closed yesterday at $3.62. It is a San Francisco-based technology group focused on the housing market. More than doubled on Monday after an influential investor highlighted the company's potential in a series of tweets last week. Jackson argued that these factors position OpenDoor to capture a sizable portion of the massive real estate market, even though its market share remains small. It says, activist investor touts OpenDoor's home buying platform. And then you have the short sellers. They're starting to get squeezed because the stock is moving higher, the volume is increasing. So this is what's happening. It was talking about how the retail investors were buying this stock. So this was published Friday afternoon. It's a MarketWatch article. Then by Tuesday morning, it starts moving higher. So I thought it was kind of interesting that this article came out on Friday. Retail investors start buying the stock on the weekend, and then it starts moving on Tuesday. That's usually how it works. Retail investors read an article, decide to buy the stock, and then the next day, it starts moving. Sometimes it takes a couple days, but usually within 3 days you can start seeing the effect. He summed up his perspective by saying, quote, "I am enthusiastic about OpenDoor's opportunity to grow its market share in the large real estate market and look forward to continued innovation under a strong leadership team," end quote. I haven't shorted this stock. I've never shorted this stock. But I wanted to make the video because I thought it was interesting that this is a new name. So we've had a GameStop, we've had an AMC, and now we have a new meme stock. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? I mean, that's what they're calling it. That's what the media is calling it. So it says that he's bullish on this stock, but he's only been bullish for 2 weeks. And this article goes on to talk about how much money he's made. It says since disclosing his investment in early June, Jackson's stake in OpenDoor has increased in value along with the stock price. According to his calculations, his investment has grown from roughly $25 million to an approximate $50 million. This significant gain comes despite a challenging year for tech stocks, and especially those focusing on the housing market. The stock is now up around 200% in the past 5 days. On Friday, the shares gained 134%, and on Thursday, they jumped 87% after activist investor Eric Jackson wrote an article on Medium on June, touting the prospects of OpenDoor. Jackson discussed the company's key operating metrics and explained why he believes the company is poised for substantial growth. He emphasized OpenDoor's ability to serve both home buyers and sellers and generate revenue from every transaction, showcasing their robust technology platform. So basically, this article was posted on June. Then the stock starts moving. This is written on July. So the stock has been moving for 2 weeks. And the volume, it looks like it's going to close around 334 million shares. The last closing volume was 183 million. So it's quite a jump. So obviously there's a ton of retail investors who are interested in this stock. They're buying calls. He posted one video on June and another one on June 15th. So basically this is how it started. And you can see that they've a bot to write 25 contracts of the August $5 calls, and they've sold 10 contracts of the August $5 calls. So that is bullish activity. The calls represent bullish activity. The puts represent bearish activity. So there's way more calls than puts. First, the shorts start covering. Then second, people start writing articles about it. Of course, it's always after the fact. Nobody predicts the stock is going to go up except for Keith Gill, aka Roaring Kitty, talked about GameStop, and then eventually he left the earth. Nobody knows what happened to him. He vanished. So hopefully he doesn't vanish if he happens to watch this video. It's showing 228%. Last week, the implied volatility was around 150%. Implied volatility drives option prices. So the higher the implied volatility, the more expensive the options tend to be. So it's almost doubled in 3 days. The news just came out. The shorts are getting squeezed. So let me give you the backstory very quickly. In early June, a guy named Eric Jackson, who runs this investment firm called EMJ Capital, wrote an article about OpenDoor. He said he owns 5% of OpenDoor. And then on June, put this post on X. He said, "I believe at OpenDoor is a leading example of a company poised to revolutionize the real estate industry." And he ends the tweet with hashtag #NextGenuis company. Then 2 days later, he posted again and said, "When evaluating high-growth companies, it's crucial to analyze how much money they are spending to acquire each customer and how quickly these customers become profitable. This metric, known as LTV divided by CAC, or customer acquisition cost, is essential for predicting a company's success." He then added the hashtag OpenDoor. Then he posts again and says, in the case of OpenDoor, their LTV divided by CAC is nearly 3x, signaling a highly effective customer acquisition strategy. Moreover, the cost of acquiring a customer is decreasing, further strengthening the company's financial outlook. So he posts that on June. Then on June, he posts again and says, "Considering the substantial improvements in OpenDoor SLTV divided by CAC ratio and the fact that they already boast a strong cash position of approximately $1.2 billion, it seems likely that concerns regarding the company's capital runway are largely unfounded." Now, this caught the attention of many retail traders because he started talking about OpenDoor. He didn't try to hide it. It was transparent. And then you had a bunch of retail traders who started getting interested in the stock. If you go to the website optionstrat.com, it shows you all of the option activity happening for all stocks. And it's showing OpenDoor right here. Here is the weekly chart for OpenDoor. We had a low of 1.43 on Tuesday, a high of 4.72, and it closed Friday at 2.27. Now, when you have a stock that moves like this, there's a couple things that happen. Anyway, I digress. Here's the article. It says OpenDoor stock soars on positive comments from activist investor. The article goes on to say, he also pointed out OpenDoor's significant cash reserves of $1.2 billion, stating that it should quell concerns about the company's capital runway. Then you have a Seeking Alpha article. This is why Eric Jackson continues to accumulate OpenDoor. You have all of these articles coming out now. You have retail traders who are jumping in the stock, buying calls. And the reason I bring this up is because if you watched my last video, I posted this article that I found. I don't know if I'm going to keep an eye on this stock or not. Right now, I have no position in this stock. Hope you enjoyed the video.